Hey guys, I hope everyone's having a great day. So, I set this stream up so we could watch part two of the Derek Chauvin trial. I think that's how you say his name. I never pronounce his last name correctly. Anyways, I'll probably be in and out of the chat, so I'll probably be muted. Thank you. It's a crying shame for the super chat and for joining the membership. Welcome to Southern Royalty. Let's read your super chat. Thank you, Cece, for always giving true crime followers a nice place to chit chat. That's more valued than most true crime creators offer. Aw, thank you so much. That made my day. Thank you. Thank all of you for supporting me. I appreciate it so much. Anyways, let me see if this has started back. It's getting ready to. It's not started back yet, but it will be in a moment. Why is it not? Okay, we want to go full screen. I don't reckon I will get in trouble for playing this from USA Today. I was in my creator studio earlier and I didn't see any notifications, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for it. So I'm just going to mute, guys, because I'm in the middle of doing laundry and one of my dogs wants out. But the trial will resume in just a moment. And I'll check back in just a second, okay? It should start in just a moment, guys. I appreciate all you y'all coming in here to listen and chat. Sapphire, I'm cleaning and listening. I'm going to be listening too. I've been doing a little cleaning. I was diamond dotting earlier. I'm going to try to get some more done on my sloth painting so I can get the other one hung up. Oh, yeah, by the way, Sapphire, I saw this video and I saved it where we don't have to frame every diamond painting that we do. We can have like an art portfolio. I'll try to find that video and send it to you. Anyways, I'm going to mute and hopefully the trial will start back in just a moment. It's supposed to start back at 1:15, I believe, which makes it 2:15 here. Okay, see y'all in a bit. I'm going to re-screen share so I can make sure I share the audio. Uh-oh, I hear myself. Hear myself talking. Hold on a minute, Chloe. Okay, so everything's fixed. Let me go back over and mute myself. You can also buy cheap trim and make a frame with particle board as the back. Oh, that's a good idea. It's a crying shame. Cece, I sent you a Twitter chicken thing. Enjoy. Okay, thank you, Warrior Grandma. Thanks for telling me. That way I'll get in my freaking email. I'm so bad for that. I will get in it and check it in just a minute. I love getting little cute chicken things, by the way. Oh my goodness, guys. Well, I gotta go. I got another dog hollering for me at the door scratching. This is why I can't live stream during the day. See you in just a minute. Hopefully this starts pretty soon. I'm eager to hear the rest of the witnesses. Hey, this lawyer, the defense attorney, he is smart, but he is trying to like place blame on people. To me, when he was questioning that guy that actually received the counterfeit bill from George Floyd in that store, it's kind of like, I don't know, I felt like he was trying to like blame him for actually calling the police or his coworker calling police. That's the way I took it. I don't know, we're all different. Anyways, make sure after this live stream's over, y'all leave me a comment below. Let me know what y'all think. Okay, I'm going to mute. I gotta go. I think they're getting ready to start back, guys.
If you can just stand there for a second. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? Have a seat. And first of all, if you feel comfortable, we'd appreciate if you could remove your mask because it'll be easier to hear you. I'll keep my mask on so that we have as much protection. And we're going to test out the microphone and how it works with you. So If you could state your full name,
How come we
spell each of your
can't?
names.
How come we can't see him? I wonder.
First name, Charles McMillan.
Let me go back out.
Charles. Last name, McMillan, capital M.
I'm gonna refresh. Let me refresh it because you couldn't see anything. I couldn't. Let's see what's happening
I'm
now.
going to start with some questions
Okay.
about your background, and then we'll move on from there, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me one
So
second,
can you tell the
guys.
jury how old you are?
61 years old,
And how far did you go in school?
third grade,
And what city do you live in?
here in Henry County.
And you're in Hennepin County. Are you in Minneapolis?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask you some questions about Memorial Day, May 25th of last year. Do you live in an area close to Cup Foods?
Yes, I do.
And that evening on May 25th, were you driving by that area?
Yes, I was.
And what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2006 Dodge Caravan Blue.
Okay, is that a van?
Yes, ma'am.
So, when you were in the area of 38th in Chicago, did something draw your attention?
Yes, it did.
What was that? What did you see?
I was at the red light going south, and at the time I was going to go east on the 38. That was to my left, and when I got there to make a left turn, I see an interaction with a car with a man and with a police officer.
So I'm going to show you a map. If we could put up Exhibit 1, please. All right, so you were talking about where you were. Using this map that's up on the screen, could you just describe, you can actually use your, there's a little pen there, stylus pen, you can use that to sort of show the jury on the screen where you were and where you were headed.
Hard for me to see because I'm old. I didn't stop it barely by itself because I can't hardly see what's going on.
Okay,
I was
and
on the corner of 38th in Chicago
All right,
to
you're on-
make a left to go east towards 47 in Hiawatha. So I was right on the corner of 38th in Chicago.
So you were headed east on 38th Street, is that right?
Yes, which would be right here.
Okay, perfect. And you just made a mark at that intersection there where in the direction you were headed, which was eastbound, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And when you were headed down 38th, you said you saw an interaction with somebody and some police officers. What did you see at that point?
Well, when I made the left, I seen a gray, blue. There was a Mercedes-Benz truck on the right side with a police officer standing at the door. So I automatically made a right turn and pulled over.
And what made you decide to stop and pull over?
Being nosy, just being nosy. I'm in the neighborhood. I'm a nosy person.
Did you want to know what was going on?
Yes, being nosy. That's what it was.
So when you first approached that area, you said an officer standing next to a blue Mercedes truck
With the door open.
with the door open. Did you see what the officer was doing at that point?
No, not at the time.
Okay. So you said you decided you wanted to pull over, see what was going on.
Get out, yes.
All right. So did you drive up the street a little bit and then park?
Immediate park, got out.
Okay. So when you got out, what'd you do?
I walked across, I went to the other side of the street.
All right. And would that be the Cup Food side of the street?
Yes.
Okay. So what'd you do on the other side of the street?
I engaged in what was going on by watching.
Okay. So what did you see from the Cup Food side of the street?
Basically, I seen the officer, was asking Mr. Floyd to get out the truck. And shortly after they got Mr. Floyd out the truck and they walked over to the sidewalk where they allowed, just walked over to the sidewalk behind Mr. Floyd's truck.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. We'll just break it down a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you saw the officers getting Mr. Floyd out of the truck, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you say Mr. Floyd, did you know who he was at the time?
No, ma'am.
Did you later learn that that man was George Floyd?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you saw, how many officers at that time did you see interacting with Mr. Floyd?
I want to say one at the time, then another one walked over to help him.
Okay, so tell the jury about that. What did you see the first officer do, and then what happened next? So we'll start from that point.
Well, when I got out my truck and started watching, I basically just seen the officer asking Mr. Floyd to get out. And from that point on, I don't want to say, the other officer walked up to the truck where the other officer was. The other officer was on the other side, so he walked up to where the officer trying to get Mr. Floyd out of the truck. I said, I heard a couple words, I don't know what it was, and they finally got Mr. Floyd out of the truck, handcuffed and walked him down.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. So first you saw one officer interacting on the driver's side of the car
Yes.
with Mr. Floyd, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you said there was another officer who was on the passenger side initially of that blue Mercedes truck, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I think you're describing that eventually that officer on the passenger side came over to assist on the driver's side, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said that those officers got Mr. Floyd handcuffed. Did you see that happen?
No, I didn't. No, I don't recall.
So what did you see while you were standing on the Cup Food side of the street happen at the next to that SUV?
Well, after that, I seen, because I was looking away, but then when I turned back and looked, I did see Mr. Floyd handcuffed. Then they started to walk him down the sidewalk.
So you didn't see the very moment he was
No,
handcuffed,
ma'am.
but you
No.
did see that he ended up in handcuffs.
Yes, ma'am.
And were you looking around you but not focused the entire time on, what the exact moment was that he was handcuffed?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
So you said that he was handcuffed, and then you said they walked him across the street. So can you describe or show on the map what you saw happen next? All right, so if you could just put either a line or a mark where you saw them walking. Can we enlarge it? Is that possible?
It was on the right-hand side, but I can't see whatever restaurant is on the right side.
Okay, so let's take off the enlarged portion just for a second there.
It was a little small restaurant on my right-hand side behind the truck.
Okay,
That's what I'm looking for, and I can't see it.
all right. Would that be the Dragon Walk restaurant?
Yes, a little restaurant on the corner.
Okay, so was that where the officers that you saw walked with Mr. Floyd at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said he was in handcuffs. Was Mr. Floyd walking across the street?
Yes, he was walking up the sidewalk with them.
And then what happened?
He said something about he said something. I can't quote right what he said, but whatever he said, they let him sit down.
Okay, and were you watching that part of the interaction where he was sitting down?
Yes, ma'am.
And where were you? Were you still on the
I was still on the Cub pool side.
Okay, and I'm gonna try not to talk over you, but we could just wait for the question and then you can answer, and I'll try not to
Yes,
try
ma'am.
to do the
Not
same
a
thing.
problem, thank you.
Okay, just because we got someone taking it all down. All right, so you are on the Cup Food side. You see them sit them down at the Dragon Walk. Could you hear what was going on in terms of the whole conversation?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but you were watching what was going on. Is that right? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Did they move again after that?
Yes, ma'am. They helped him guide up off the sidewalk.
Okay, and then after he got up off the sidewalk, where did they go?
They went north across the street at the red light, which would be going north through the red light.
So did they head toward Cup Foods at that point?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and where were you? Did you stay where you were, or did you follow?
I just went on down the sidewalk almost to the front edge of the Cub pool,
Okay,
to the stoplight.
And I'm going to put up, did we, can you take this out, please? Thank you. Did we show you some pictures and videos from that day prior to your testimony in court today? Did you see some videos and pictures on a previous date when we met before?
Yes, I did.
All right. I'm going to put up, just for you but not for the jury, what we've marked as Exhibit 38, please. All right, do you see that in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recognize yourself in that picture?
Yes, I do.
And is that what you looked like on May 25th, and what you were wearing? All right, we would offer Exhibit 38.
No objection. All right, 38 is received.
All right, and we will publish that to the jury. All right, so now the jury is getting to see that's what you were wearing, that's what you looked like on May 25th. Is that right?
Yes.
And so it looks like you're walking down the sidewalk. You're talking about getting closer. Did you get closer at that point?
Yes, I was getting close.
Okay. We can take that down, please. So after you see the officers walk Mr. Floyd toward the cut foods and you're getting closer, what do you see then?
I see them come through the intersection with Mr. Floyd, and I was just standing and observing like I was doing. And when they came through the intersection, they went on to the car with him,
And when you say the car, what car are you referring to?
the squad car.
Okay. So they were taking Mr. Floyd to the squad car at that point? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And was he still handcuffed at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Mr. Floyd walking with those officers?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it just those two officers at that point?
Yes.
Did you know either of those two officers?
No.
Okay. And then did you continue to observe after they got to that squad car?
Yes, I did.
And what did you see then?
Just standing and observing them, get him into the car, and as they get him in the car, I'm just paying attention like I always was.
And was Mr. Floyd saying anything at that point in time?
Yes, he was.
And were you engaging in a conversation with Mr. Floyd as well?
Yes, I was.
So tell the jury just a little bit about what was going on in that moment.
At the time I was engaged with Mr. Floyd, that the officer was, trying to get him in the car and everything, talking to him, and I was telling Mr. Floyd, just ply with him, get on in the car because you can't win. Something to that nature.
Okay. And before, as you were watching Mr. Floyd walk up to the squad car, he was seated down and then he was walked across the street. Any of those moments in time, did you see Mr. Floyd fighting or being violent with the officers from the moment he was taken out of the car until he was sat down and then walked across the street?
No.
Okay. And then you're describing what was going on, and he was handcuffed, you described that whole time, is that right?
Yes.
And then you're talking about them trying to get him into the car. Did we previously show you a video that showed your position and what you were watching, as well as what one of the officers' body cameras showed was going on at that moment? Did you see video of that on a previous date?
Yes.
And did that show accurately and fairly what you saw, as well as what you heard and what was going on with respect to Mr. Floyd at the squad car? Did that show what was happening?
Yes.
Okay. And just so I'm clearly describing it to you, I know you saw a number of videos. There was one that had a view from one of the officer's body cameras combined with a surveillance camera that was showing where you were standing. And that's what we've marked as Exhibit 39. And you said that video showed what you were doing and what you saw and heard. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, I'd offer Exhibit 39.
39 is received.
And we will publish that now. And does that show you walking by? Let me just pause it for one moment. Before we play, the top screen, does that show where you're standing next to the squad car?
Yes.
And can you just point yourself out on that top screen? And then the other video that's embedded within what's shown here, that shows the officer and Mr. Floyd at the car. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We will clear that and then we will continue to play. Thank you.
I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic. I got anxiety. I don't want to do nothing to them. Man, I'm scared as fuck, man. You made a mistake. When I start breathing, it's going to go off on me, man. Okay. Let me count to three. I'm going in.
Pause it right there, please. All right, we're at 18:07. Now, just to sort of summarize what's happened thus far, are you having a conversation with Mr. Floyd at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's going on in that conversation?
It's one of the conversation that I'm watching, Mr. Floyd saying that he clasped over to the back seat of the police car. And I'm trying to get him to understand that when you make a mistake, once they get you a cup, it's no certain thing as being clasped over. You're going to go with them. And I was trying to get him to go.
Okay, and you were saying, is it your voice saying things like you can't win?
Yes, ma'am.
And why were you saying that?
Because I have had interaction with officers myself, and I understand once you get in the cup, you can't win. You're done.
Okay.
That's just the way I have looked at it.
So were you trying to just help him to...
Make the situation easy.
Got it. So you were trying to make the situation easier. There were some comments about, I'm claustrophobic, and then I believe there was a response. Were you having a conversation with Mr. Floyd at that point in time?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you feel like he was hearing you and understanding what you were saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And like you said, you were just trying to make it easier and help. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at some point, again, we have this stopped at 18:07. Did some other officers arrive?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you know any of the other officers who arrived?
Yes, ma'am.
And who did you know?
Mr. Chauvin right there.
And if you can point to him on the screen, you're pointing there. So you've made a mark with the arrow pointing to Mr. Chauvin. How did you know Mr. Chauvin?
5 days prior to this happening, I pulled up on the squad car somewhere in South Minneapolis, and I had seen Mr. Chauvin, and I told him, like I tell all officers, at the end of the day, you go home to your family safe, and that the next person go home to their family safe.
So you had just met him in the community a few days prior, is that right?
I had seen him in the community prior to them, but that, the day I pulled up on him, I gave him the recommendation of what I said.
Okay, so you had seen him 5 days or so prior, had a conversation with him, but you had known him in the community before that as well, is that right?
I had seen him riding through the community, not knowing him.
Okay, so you recognized him as an officer in the community?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I apologize. I'll try to slow down. You try to slow down. We'll both take a breath. And then we'll
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm going to try not to talk over you. Do my best. All right. Okay. So I'm going to let the video play, and then we can pause it for some follow-up. So go ahead. Thank you.
Hey, I'm not trying to win. I'll get on the ground, anything. I get in the car. He know it. He know it too, Mr. Officer. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man.
Get in the car.
Okay, can I talk to you, please?
Yes, you get in this car. We can talk.
I am claustrophobic. I'm
You
claustrophobic,
start
man.
working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
Get in the car.
Man.
Get in the car.
Get in the front, please.
No, you're not getting in the
I'm
car.
claustrophobic, Mr. Officer.
Get in the car.
Okay, man, okay. I'm not a bad guy, man.
Get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man, I open my double. Please, officer. Please,
Sit.
please.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please. No.
Take a seat.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please.
You're fine.
My wrist, man. My wrist, please. I can't. And I want to go. I want to go. I'm able to go home. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down.
Get in the squad.
I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not going to leave, dude. You want that a heart attack? I know, can't breathe. Get in the car. I can't go, man. I can't breathe. I
Take a
can't
seat.
breathe. Please, man. Please listen to me.
Is he going to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I tell you.
Let me figure out what's going on.
For what? For what? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe.
Hey, come on out.
Look at you. Thank you. Thank you.
Get him on the ground. Get on the ground. On the ground.
My wrist. Right.
You got your restraints. Hobbled.
I can't breathe. I can't
I'll
breathe.
grab that.
Jesus. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Stop moving.
Mama. Mama.
Now,
Mama.
sit down.
Mama.
One of the front couches
Mama.
on my right side bag.
Mama. Mama.
You're the best guy.
All right. All right. Oh my God.
Now you go to
I
jail.
can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this,
Can I
man.
stop it right here, please?
Mama, look.
Mr. McVaughn, do you need a minute?
Oh my
Just give me a moment, Mr. McVaughn. I'm not sure if there's water for you as well. If you need a break to get some water, let me know. And we can take a break. May I approach your honor?
You in?
Thank you.
You okay?
Yeah.
I know that this is difficult. Can you just explain sort of what you're feeling in this moment?
I can't. I feel helpless. I don't have a mama either to understand him. My mom died June 25th.
Hang on just 1 second, Mr.
Let's take a 10-minute break.
We'll take a little break.
Oh, I thought I was muted. Sorry, guys. That tore me up. I was sitting here diamond dotting, just listening, and hearing him cry tore me up. I think his mom had already passed away, guys. I think I remember reading that when this first happened, so maybe he was seeing her spirit there. Who knows? Anyways, I'm going to go back and mute. Mark just got home with some groceries, and I'm going to help him get them in. They should be back in session in just a few minutes.
Okay, sir. How you doing?
Yes, sir.
All set to roll?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to leave the mask on or off?
Oh, no, too hot.
Okay, understood. It's over.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, Mr. McMillan. We have the video paused for a minute. I'm just gonna maybe ask you some questions about that, and then we can move on from there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, we have it stopped at 8:20:51. What did you see at the beginning of this clip in terms of the officers putting Mr. Floyd in the car? Can you just describe what you saw from your perspective?
Well, what I'm standing there looking at now, with where they are with Mr. Floyd on the passenger side of the car, with the trunk of Mr. Vane, other officers was trying to get some scrap, what you call hog tie. So that's what I'm engaging in right now. But
Okay. So, in this image right now, where it's frozen at 8:20:51, can you just point out where you are? And you said you're talking about the other officer, and I think you used the word hog tie. Can you just describe what you meant by that?
I guess he was looking for some scraps where they tie you up.
Okay. So where we have this video stopped, you were watching. Yes. Sorry. Is that better?
You can stay right in the middle of them.
Okay. And I just want to make sure you can hear me and I can hear you. I have trouble hearing with all the plexiglass and masks, so I apologize. So could you describe what you're seeing at that point?
I'm seeing Mr. Floyd on the ground.
And is anyone else on the ground?
Will you repeat that again, please?
Yeah. Is anyone with him on the ground?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what do you see in terms of the other officers?
I see two officers on the back of him, and I see the officer in the front with him. And I see Mr. Child, that's who in the trunk of the car.
Okay. And you're, I think you said Mr. Chow or Mr. Vang. Did you know the other officer who was at the back of the car? Did you know who he was, that officer at the back?
No, ma'am. I
Okay.
didn't know who was.
Did you, and you don't know his name today, do you?
What? Child, whatever. I don't really know his name.
Okay. But another officer that you weren't familiar with at that time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And what about Officer Chauvin? You said you knew him, is that right?
I didn't know his name at the time, but I knew of him in the squad car and what I had said to him 5 days ago, but I didn't know who he was.
So you later realized that you knew
His name, yes,
his
ma'am.
name. Okay. All right. So I'm going to back you up a little bit. Before these officers were on the ground with Mr. Floyd, and there's an officer at the back, at the beginning of this clip, they were getting him into the car. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at that time, you were having a conversation with Mr. Floyd. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then were you continuing to have a conversation with Mr. Floyd throughout this process?
I can't recall what's that right now.
Okay. But did you hear Mr. Floyd speaking?
Yes, ma'am.
And then at times, were you also speaking to him?
I want to say yes.
Okay. And anything you said that's captured on camera, that would have been what you said in that moment. Is that right? Over the course of the time of your interaction with Mr. Floyd?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what stood out to you about what Mr. Floyd was saying when you saw him on the ground?
When he kept saying, I can't breathe, and when he said, Mama, they're killing me. And they're killing me. That's what I kept hearing. I can't breathe. Mama, they're killing me. Then when he started saying my body's shutting down.
And was it your voice somewhere in the middle of all this saying, "Get up and get in the car." Was that you?
Yes, ma'am.
And why were you saying that? What were you trying to do at that point?
Trying to help him.
And how did he look to you after this continued? When you said he was saying, "Mama, and I can't breathe," how did he appear to be to you?
He appeared to be in and out with the foam running out of his mouth.
And you said you saw foam running out of
Yes,
his mouth?
white foam around his mouth and stuff.
Okay. And you said in and out. What do you mean by that?
Talking, like,
Okay.
you know, I don't know how, I can't really describe it, but he was,
Did you hear him talking at one point, and then did he later stop talking?
I heard him keep trying to ask them to let him up so he can't breathe. And then even I said to the officer, I said, "Man, he said he can't breathe." And they said, "Well, if he keep talking, he can breathe."
Okay. Is it okay with you if I play this
Keep going.
clip? Okay,
Yes,
we'll
ma'am.
keep playing it if you're ready for it.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
All right.
Please, I love you.
You got hobble?
Just my kids, I love them. I'm dead.
Mine's in my side. It's listed. It's labeled. It says hobble. It's in
I
the
can't
top.
breathe for nothing, man. It's cold blooded, man. Ah, ah,
You're doing a lot
Mama, I love you. I can't do nothing.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
My face is gone.
Do you want a hobble?
Ah.
Please, one side or the other,
My face still bad.
please. Okay, should we get his legs up?
Oh, it's all right.
Nope, just leave him.
Oh,
Just
my
leave him.
God.
Just leave him. Yep, just leave him.
Ah,
All right.
I'm dead.
The clerk's still sitting on the car there.
Look at my face, man.
All right. And you were describing, you said a hog tie, or you saw an officer maybe going to get one. Did you ever see the officers use any kind of tie or other type of restraint for Mr. Floyd?
No, they did not.
Okay. I'm going to take this video down. We're going to put up another one, but I'm just going to not play it. It's going to be Exhibit 16 that's already admitted. If we could just put that up on the screen. Yes, on the jury screen as well. I believe it's already admitted into evidence. So this is Exhibit 16, which is a video clip that there is, this is not playing. It's marked 8:20:05 is the timestamp. Do you see where you were standing in this particular image?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you just point yourself out? All right. And what do you see the officers doing from your perspective on this street?
I see Mr. Lane, that's the first officer right there, that hold him down. They got his knee on his neck, between the neck and back, holding him down. The other officer really can't see around him, but look like they holding George Floyd down also.
Okay. So you talked about, did you see 3 officers with Mr. Floyd?
Yes, ma'am. I see 4 officers all together, but 3 of them is on Mr. Floyd, one
Okay.
standing in the back door.
And looking at this picture, can you tell which officer was which at this moment?
First officer is Mr. Chauvin.
Okay,
I don't know the other.
All right, so let's just stop right there. When you say Mr. Chauvin, can you tell where Mr. Chauvin is in this picture, or is it too difficult to see in this picture? All right, can you actually press that again if you're trying to point to Mr. Chauvin? Okay, so the officer that you've just identified with an arrow, is that the one you recognized as Mr. Chauvin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then there were 2 other officers you described. on top of him, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then a fourth officer standing at the back of the truck, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If it's okay with you, I'd like to play just
Yeah.
a little bit of this video. Are you ready for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead. And this part of the video doesn't have audio, but does that show you in the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, you just step back a little bit out of the frame. Is that you walking off right there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. But during this time, you're watching what's going on. You're just not on the frame of this video. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So moving forward to 8:21:30, we'll just play a little bit of this here. Go ahead. And you come back into frame there.
Man, let him breathe, least, man. Let him breathe. I've been
Pause
trying
it
to
for
get
just 1
about
second. Do you see yourself back
Yes,
on
ma'am.
the screen? Okay. All right, go ahead.
So let him breathe, look at my neck, man. One of my homies died, man. Went back home. I'm about to die, just say. Relax. Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up. What do you want? I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit. Bro, get up, get in the car, man. I will. Get up, get in the car. I can't move. I've been waiting the whole thing, man. Get up, get in the car. Mama. Get up and get in the car right. I can't. You can't get y'all the opportunity to get in, bro. I told you can't win. My knee. You can't win, man. I'm through. I know you in there, you didn't listen. I'm claustrophobic. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. Get some water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe all the time.
Shut up.
They gonna kill me. They gonna kill me, man. Bro, with your feet on his neck, man, you get off the
His nose is bleeding. Like,
Yeah,
come on
that's
now.
wrong right there with his feet on his neck.
Look at his nose.
Yeah, you got your feet right on his neck, bro. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
You just a grown, you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, huh? I think you're a tough guy. You're not even resisting the rest, bro.
His whole nose is bleeding.
Fight with him.
Bro, why
You can stop it there, please. So there's someone in that clip who says, you know, your knee on his neck, that's wrong, man, something like that. Was that you?
Yes, ma'am.
And there are also, before that, some statements about you can't win, get up and get in the car. Was that also you?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, was that what you were describing earlier, just trying to help with him? Could you describe what you were trying to do at that point?
Basically, what I'm saying, we can't win because once, like I said before, once police get the cops on you, you can't win. So I'm trying to tell him just cooperate with him, get up, if you can, get in the car, go with him, you can win.
And did he say I can't to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you understand him to be talking to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were saying, you know, your knee on his neck, what were you concerned in that moment?
Yes, ma'am.
And why was that?
Because he's better saying I can't breathe, you know, my stomach hurt. You know, he's saying things that make me believe that he's in trouble.
When you say in trouble, what do you mean by that?
He's gonna die.
Did you stay, and I'm not going to keep playing this clip, we can take it down, but did you continue to watch what was going on?
Yes, ma'am.
And eventually did you see an ambulance come?
Yes, ma'am.
At any point in time, did you see Mr. Chauvin or any of the officers give any medical attention, help give CPR, anything like that for Mr. Floyd?
No, ma'am.
And did you see Mr. Chauvin or any of the officers get off Mr. Floyd before the ambulance came?
No, ma'am.
And while you were watching that, Did your concerns increase over time, the longer it went on?
Yes, ma'am.
And why was that?
It grew because when the paramedics arrived for Mr. Floyd, I knew then in my mind and my instinct it was over for Mr. Floyd. He was dead.
After the paramedics arrived and then left the scene, did you have some additional interaction with Mr. Chauvin?
Yes, I did.
And prior to today, did we show you some video clips of that interaction?
Yes, you did.
And we've marked those clips as Exhibit 40 and 41, but reviewing those two clips, did they fairly and accurately show your interaction with Mr. Chauvin on May 25th, that date?
Yes, it did.
Your Honor, I'd offer Exhibits 40 and 41.
Any objection? 40 and 41 are received.
And Your Honor, I'd ask to publish Exhibit 40. And before we press play, one of these videos, Exhibit 40, contains a composite, so a video showing you as well as Mr. Chauvin's perspective from his body camera. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's play Exhibit 40. And is that you walking down the street?
Yes, ma'am.
Such a man, you got to have dreams, man. Like, bro, you gonna fuck around and shoot you, so that's what you gonna do. That man gonna haunt you for the rest of your life. I just like the phone. I tried to get in the car. How you doing, man? I know who you is. You know me from over. That's why I said it. I ain't in it, but that was 2 weeks ago. Huh? Yeah. I just hate him to get put on his neck. I know you respect me, but.
So that can be, we can pause it right there, but that can be difficult to hear. What was it that you were saying to Mr. Chauvin at that time?
I can't recall, but in my mind that I said to Mr. Chauvin, in an act I think it was like 5 days ago. I'm not sure, but I know in my mind what I did say to him. I think I said to him 5 days ago, I told you at the end of the day, go home to your family say, let the next person go home to their family say, but the dad got to look at you as a maggot.
Okay. And so your interaction continued with him in over these two clips, is that right? Did he move his car at some point?
Either that clip or the other clip. Yes, he did.
Okay. And then did you also have another conversation with him as well?
I think so.
And initially, did you remark about his foot on his neck or something to that effect?
I can't recall.
Okay, but if it's there, it would be in the video, is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
All right. And again, some of these can be difficult to hear. Can we put up Exhibit 41, please?
Can you advise the fire department if they're still with you, they need to go to 36th Park to assist with the
But I
patient
still
on full
respect
rest?
you here.
That's one person's opinion.
But no, I gotta get him. I gotta get him in
We
here.
gotta control this guy because he's a sizable guy.
Yeah, and I
It
gotta
looks like,
get in the car.
looks like he's probably on something.
But I'm just saying, you know, by other people, but no, I got nothing bad to say about this. Because you respect me, I'm gonna keep respecting you.
Right.
You have a good night. You go home safe to your family. Let other people do the same.
Okay, so there's a voice that's heard. There are two voices. Which voice is yours?
The one that when I told him I'm gonna respect him at the end of the night, you go home to your family safe, and that the next person go home to his family safe.
And whose voice is the other voice?
Mr. Chauvin.
And one of the voices was saying something to the effect of, I don't respect what you did, or something like that. Was that your voice or Mr. Chauvin's voice?
My voice.
Okay. And was Mr. Chauvin's voice the other voice on that?
Yes.
And what were you trying to do at that point in time when you were talking to Mr. Chauvin? Why did you feel the need to talk to Mr. Chauvin?
Because what I watched was wrong.
And did you feel it was important to tell him that?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson. Sure. All right, thank you, sir. You may step down. And if you could take the water with you, that'd be great. The bottle of water that's right over there.
Mean I'm done?
You are done. Thank you for coming in. Oh, sidebar? Okay. Members of the jury, we're going to take a 20-minute break. Counsel are going to confer on possible ways that we can streamline some of the testimony that's coming up. So it's going to be a productive break for them. Take 20 minutes, and we'll see you back here roughly around 2:40. Thank you. Next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Jeff Rugel.
Stand for a second. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, right here.
Let's see. And before you begin, if you could give us your full name, spelling each of your names.
James Jeffrey Rugel, James Jeffrey. Rugel, Rugel.
Mr. Swisher.
Can I take this off?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Is it Officer Rugel?
Lieutenant Rugel,
Lieutenant Rugel. And what law enforcement agency are you with?
Minneapolis Police Department.
And how long have you been employed by the Minneapolis Police Department?
Just under 32 years.
And you indicated that you're a lieutenant. How long have you held that rank?
Since 2000.
Before you talk a little bit about yourself, you understand that you've been called here today as sort of a foundational witness. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Your personal involvement in this case is somewhat limited, and we're going to be offering various video evidence through you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Right. And so, what are your present duties with the Minneapolis Police Department, Lieutenant?
I manage the Police Business Technology Unit.
And what is that?
Myself and my staff basically manage the technology equipment, software, systems that officers use on patrol and investigations anywhere they're doing their job.
Tell the jury a little bit about some of these systems and software and tools that you use.
For example, we have a records management system where all of our police reports are kept. And so my staff manages that system along with a software vendor. We use surveillance video, for example, surveillance cameras around the city. We manage accounts for that, advise on where cameras should be and make sure the system's working. The city uses body cameras for patrol officers and investigators. We manage the body camera program, including the video storage, which is through a cloud-based vendor, but all of the policies and stuff are enforced through our system administrators, which are part of my staff.
Fair to say, as a police department, the department generates a lot of data.
Very much, yes.
Both the written documents, video, audio, and all of these things need to be collected and stored and be able to be retrieved in a way that can be associated with a case number. Is that right?
Correct.
Before stepping into the business technology unit, I'd like you to share with the jury a little bit about your career at the Minneapolis Police Department. When did you begin?
I started in 1989 as a patrol officer, worked as a patrol officer for several years, was promoted to sergeant, and worked as an investigator doing gang cases, gun trafficking, and narcotics. Was promoted to lieutenant in 2000, and as a lieutenant, I've served as a patrol lieutenant, supervising a shift of officers on the street at a couple of postings. Served in this business technology job, and I also was the manager of our Strategic Information Center for about 8 years.
And I'd like to, for purposes of starting here, focus on that assignment with the Strategic Information Center. So could you please describe for the jury what the Strategic Information Center is?
It's what we call a real-time crime center. So it's a facility where both sworn law enforcement officers and non-sworn analysts work they're monitoring the police radio, they're monitoring cameras, they're looking at calls for service, and looking for ways to assist patrol officers in their job. So that could be anything from hearing that a patrol officer is on the way to an address on a particularly high priority call, looking up the history of that address and being able to send information to an officer so they know more about it before they even arrive. They also do a lot of assistance to investigations, looking for link analysis, trying to find suspects based on nicknames, all sorts of stuff. But they do that 7 days a week, 20 hours a day.
Fair to say, like any other business, things have changed a lot since 1989 when you started in law enforcement.
Yes, quite a bit.
We have much more sophisticated surveillance tools and data storage tools, is that right?
Yes.
When did the Strategic Information Center open?
October of 2010.
And what was your involvement in the Strategic Information Center at that point?
I was on the design team that helped to configure the way it was going to work. I was the initial and first manager of the center, so I wrote the standard operating procedures, the policies, sort of created it from the ground up, along with some supervisors that worked for me.
And you served to manage that center until when?
April of 2018.
And that's when you began your position with the Business Technology Unit?
Yes.
Within the Strategic Information Center, what I'd like you to focus on for the jury is the availability of surveillance video throughout the city. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So the city has a network of public safety cameras that are placed at strategic locations all over the city. There's roughly 250, maybe a little more than that now. Typically in high traffic or areas where we expect to see a lot of activity. And those cameras are on 24/7. They're recorded all the time, and they can be monitored both at the Strategic Information Center and from places like precincts, and investigators often can monitor them or retrieve recorded video as needed.
And when you say monitor, you're talking about monitoring in real time.
Sure, you can watch them live. You can move them, if you will, pan, tilt, and zoom the cameras to zoom in on things that are of interest. Or if you know that there's an incident at a location where we have a camera, they can use the camera to try to see what's going on.
And then how do you communicate with other officers who may be on patrol and in need of this information?
There's a number of ways. The primary way would be sending what we call a switch message. So the squads have a computer in the car, and they're operating some software that allows us to send them sort of a direct message that flashes on their screen and can give them updates on the call or any other information. We can also get on the radio if we want to broadcast to a wider group. And then people have cell phones. We can call them if there's something more detailed than what you want to send in the message.
And that's helpful for monitoring in real time. You also mentioned storage and retrieval of said footage. Is that right?
Yes.
Describe, as the designer and former lieutenant of this Strategic Information Center, how the footage is able to be stored, retrieved, and, if possible, associated with a particular case number or event.
Sure. So we use a system called Milestone, which is our enterprise video management system. It's commercial software, but each camera feeds its images into Milestone, and they're recorded on a giant server that just holds video. They stay there for 14 days, and then after 14 days, the video expires and it just goes away. But during that 14 days, the staff at the SIC or investigators can go in and search by date and search by location. So, with the huge number of cameras we have, we can't monitor every camera all the time. There's just not enough people and your eyes would glaze over. So it's very common for an investigator to contact the SIC, the day after an incident and say, hey, will you go find the video from this corner from this time to this time and save it for me, send it to me. And so they will do that, check the area where the incident was, and get the video. It can be downloaded out of the system so that it's no longer subject to that 14-day expiration. And once it's downloaded, it's like any other video file. It's there as long as you have it.
And when you do, or an officer does, download Milestone video, and I think the jury's heard that term before already now, Milestone video. When they download the Milestone video, does that leave any kind of a electronic trail so that you can know who made the request, what case number it was assigned to, and where the incident came from?
The milestone video itself, the system doesn't have case numbers, but when downloading it, usually the file is named, including the case number. And then to store that file, rather than keep it on a person's local computer, they store it in our video cloud storage system, which is called evidence.com. And at that point, it's associated with a case number.
And the whole point of collecting the data, I suppose, is being able to retrieve it and use it both for proactive law enforcement, but also to review as evidence. Is that right?
Yes.
And so is this something that the SIC does, or officers assigned to that unit do in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, very much so.
And upon request here, were you able to review certain business records of the Minneapolis Police Department with which you're familiar to determine whether or not milestone video was requested and downloaded in this case?
Yes.
And when I say this case, you're aware there was an incident that took place on 38th in Chicago on May 25, 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
And was there milestone camera footage taken of the area on the date and around the time of the death of George Floyd?
Yes.
Are you aware that that footage was requested by a Deputy Chief Eric Fors in connection with this investigation?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury what he specifically requested?
I believe he wanted video from the camera at 38th in Chicago from about 7 p.m. till, I'm not sure how late, maybe 11 p.m.
And based on your review of the records, was that video footage obtained?
Yes.
And that was obtained by a Minneapolis police officer by the name of Dean Kriegel. Is that right?
Yes. He was a sergeant at the SIC.
Okay. And the milestone footage with the incident that you just described, is that under Minneapolis Police Department case number 2020-140629?
Yes.
And that footage was exported and then uploaded into the MPD's evidence.com site for later retrieval. Is that right?
Yes.
And do you know when, based on your review, the case was uploaded? That footage was uploaded?
Yes.
It was at 12:50 a.m. on May 26, 2020?
I believe so, yes.
And you reviewed this footage yourself, is that right?
I have.
When did you review it?
I actually reviewed it the day after the incident to see if there was video available.
Now, can the milestone footage, does the milestone footage include a date and timestamp embedded in it?
Yes.
And based on your experience using this footage, are the date and timestamps accurate?
They're very close to the same time as what would be on your phone or anywhere else.
Okay. And can those date and timestamps be changed or altered by the user?
No, one of the reasons we use Milestone is because when you download video using Milestone, it creates a sort of a secure package that includes a player and the video, and it can't be broken up, altered.
Now, we asked you to review some of this footage, and you're aware that we've had footage excerpted and marked and are offering it as various exhibits. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to draw your attention then to Exhibit 42. Were you previously shown a video that you were told would be designated Exhibit 42?
I don't know if I was told it would be 42, but I've been shown some video clips, yes.
All right. And you watched it, recognized it, and believe it to contain an accurate excerpt of the original milestone video downloaded under that case number, is that right?
Yes.
That Officer Kriegel exported?
Correct.
Would you agree that the excerpt itself is a little zoomed in and captures various images from about 7:44 p.m. until 8:35 p.m. on the proffered exhibit?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, offer Exhibit 42.
Any objection?
No objection.
42 is received.
All right, and I'm going to request to publish Exhibit 42, but before we do that, just to explain to the jury, what they will be seeing is something with which they've already seen a couple of times, milestone footage, I guess in that format, but there's no sound, is that right?
Correct.
And we're going to be playing a segment without sound or narration that will run from 8:08 p.m. until 8:14 and about 42 seconds. Right? And so I ask that that be published now. All right, we'll stop there. Thank you. Now, Lieutenant, I'd like you to take a look at Exhibit 1, please. We're publishing Exhibit 1. And do you see the, familiar with the intersection here, I'm assuming?
Yes,
It's 38th and Chicago.
correct.
And you see the gas station marked Speedway?
Yes,
And do you see those small yellow icons, if you could zoom in, those yellow icons on the Speedway?
yes.
Okay. What do those yellow icons mean?
They're cameras. One of them is our camera.
So, and if we could then just focus on the Speedway area, the two there. All right, so the perspective of that we were watching the milestone video is taken from one of the two cameras depicted in what we see in Exhibit 1, is that right?
Yes,
Is
the lower one.
The lower one on the corner of the store, that's why you catch the Speedway sign.
Yes,
Okay.
known issue.
Thank you. All right. If you could take that down, please. And now I'd like you to focus a little bit more on what you're doing these days in the business technology unit, all right? We know when you began in that job. Can you talk to the jury a little bit about what the business technology unit does with body-worn cameras?
So Minneapolis Police uses body-worn cameras. As of now, every sworn employee has a body-worn camera. My unit manages the program. So we are the primary point of contact with our body camera vendor, which is a company called Axon. When cameras are shipped to us, we set them up for use. We assign them to officers in the system. We make sure that officers are trained on how to use them. And we manage the back-end software, which is called evidence.com, where all the body camera footage is stored and retrievable and managed. And my unit also employs 2 full-time auditors who audit the body camera program to ensure that officers are following the body camera policy, that they're turning them on when they're supposed to, that they're doing the checks that they're supposed to, and that the system is working well.
And you're familiar with the Minneapolis Police Department body-worn camera policy?
Yes.
And this is something, obviously, in 1989, officers were not wearing body cameras. They weren't invented.
Right.
Right. When did body-worn cameras become more commonly used?
We started piloting them, I believe, in late 2015 or 16, and went with Axon after piloting several companies. The initial rollout was to patrol officers in 2016 and 17, and now we've finished rolling out to the entire department.
And Lieutenant, were you involved in the development of the body-worn camera policy and program?
Not so much in the development of it. I was at the SIC at the time.
In Minneapolis Police Department, body-worn camera policy is in the manual at 4-223, is that right?
Yes.
And at this time, I'm going to offer Exhibit 214, which is the body-worn camera policy 4-223.
214 is received.
And we're not going to publish that now because it's a lot of reading, but if you could please.
Thank you.
Sure. But if you could just give us a very high-level summary of what the body-worn camera policy requires.
Sure. So it requires that officers working in uniform always wear their body-worn camera, that they have it on in a standby mode whenever they're working, and that they activate it and record video when they're responding to a call or when they're meeting with members of the public or any other time there could be anything that we might want to review later. And so it also mandates that investigators who work in plainclothes wear cameras when they're doing certain enforcement actions like executing a search warrant and this kind of thing.
Some of the body-worn camera footage associated with this case doesn't, the sound doesn't kick in for a little bit. There's the image, but there's no sound. Can you explain why that is?
When the cameras are on but not activated, they're actually recording much like a DVR on your TV. When you press the button to activate it, that kicks on the sound and it saves the previous 30 seconds of video without sound. So the thought is that whatever caused you to turn on your camera would be captured because it was being recorded, and now the sound comes on when you activate it.
But there's safe to say there's nothing wrong with the camera and nothing wrong with the operator if the first 30 seconds is without sound. That's the way it's
Exactly as it's supposed to work.
Okay. And then can you tell us a little bit about what these cameras look like and how they're actually physically attached to the officer?
Sure, they're about the size of a deck of cards, a little black rectangle. There's a number of ways to wear them. Most officers use the magnetic mount, which is basically a pretty strong magnet that goes inside the shirt, and then a mounting plate that goes outside the shirt, and then the camera attaches to that mounting plate. So when the magnet is engaged, it's affixed. A lot of them wear it either in their shirt pocket or up on high on the chest, which is where they're supposed to wear it to capture, a view of everything going on in front of them.
And every officer is issued a body-worn camera. Is there a way to associate particular footage with a particular officer?
Yes, every camera has an electronic serial number, and when we issue a camera, we go into evidence.com and we find that officer in the roster and we say, this camera is assigned to this officer, and then that camera is linked to them until we remove that link.
And so much like you're able to do with the milestone, you're able to attribute particular footage to a particular officer at a particular time.
Yes.
And you've reviewed body-worn camera footage before, is that right?
Yes.
And is it generally a workable system? Does it capture what it's supposed to capture?
Very much so, yes.
And are you able to also associate particular footage with case numbers just like with the milestone?
Yes, so when an officer is responding to an incident and records video after the incident, we call it tagging. They tag their video with the case control number from the incident. And that way, when the video is uploaded into evidence.com, it is tagged as being associated with that case.
How long is the footage retained?
Depending on the type of video, the minimum retention is a year. For any sort of evidence thing, it's 7 years. And then for significant incidents, it could be indefinite.
And does Minneapolis Police Department provide body-worn camera footage to other agencies upon request if they're investigating a case, or a prosecuting agency if they're using that footage to prosecute a case?
Yes.
How does the MPD physically provide that footage to the agency?
The most common way is to set up a partnership within evidence.com. So for example, the county attorney, who uses a lot of our video, they have an account, they're a partner agency, And so we can share with them within evidence.com to give them access. And then they log in to the same system we are, and they can see the video we've shared with them.
Obviously, there were several police officers involved in the May 25, 2020 incident we were talking about, and Minneapolis police provided a number of body-worn camera footage to the prosecuting agency and the BCA. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And are you familiar with the specific officers who responded to the scene of the incident that occurred from 8 o'clock in the evening to about 8:30 that Memorial Day?
Yes.
And would you agree that those officers included Officer Chauvin, Officer King, Officer Lane, and Officer Tao?
Yes.
And upon your review, does it appear that each of the four mentioned officers wore body-worn cameras during that incident?
Yes.
And you were able to associate it with the same case number you recited earlier, is that right?
Yes.
And this footage was uploaded and retained by the MPD servers, correct?
Correct.
You viewed some of the footage involved with the various officers?
Yes.
All right, this time I'm going to ask you to review a series of and to introduce and publish a series of body-worn cameras associated with particular officers in this case. And the first piece of footage that I'm going to ask you to discuss is it's marked for identification as Exhibit 47, and it is the body-worn camera footage of Officer Lane. Now, at this time, I will offer Exhibit 47.
Any objection?
Subject to what we discussed during
With that exception, it is received.
And at this time, I'll ask to publish Exhibit 47. And please hit pause. And if you could enlarge and highlight the time and date stamp, please. Oh, then I will use my glasses. All right, sir, just to draw your attention to the upper right-hand corner of the footage that you're seeing here. Are you able to see the date and time stamp?
Yes.
Okay, and it says 5/25/2020,
Correct.
right? And the time is expressed in military time, is that correct?
Yes.
So 20:07 would be about 8:07 p.m.
Yes.
And some change here you can see on the footage. Axon body, that's just simply the brand of the body camera, is that right?
Yes.
And then there's some serial numbers on the footage as well?
Correct.
Okay, and so again, this particular footage, Exhibit 47, is associated with Officer Lane based on the serial number that you see, and the footage begins at about 8:07, 58 seconds. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, please continue publishing the exhibit. And this is that sound-free lag, right? There's no glitch here?
Right. 30 seconds in, the sound will kick in.
Gentlemen. Sorry. The driver in there?
A little bit.
Oh, which one? That
Okay.
blue one over there. Which one?
Yep. Just head back in. They're moving around a lot.
Pause. And the record should reflect that the time noted here is 8:09 and about 27 seconds. Is that right?
Yes.
Please resume.
Let me see your hands.
Damn, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand.
Please, Mazal.
Both hands.
Do nothing.
Put your fucking hands up right now. Let me see your other hand.
All right. What I do though? What do we do?
Put your hand up there. Put your fucking hand up there. Jesus Christ. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel.
I'm sorry, Mazal.
Who else is in the car?
This is my
Put your foot back in.
I'm sorry, Mazal. I'm so sorry. God dang, man. Man, I got shot the same way as I was before.
Okay, well, when I say let me see your hands, you put your fucking hands up.
I'm so sorry, Mazal.
You got them?
Man, dang, man.
Put your hands on top of your head.
Man, last time I got shot like that, I was
Hands on top of your head. Hands on top of your head. Step out of the vehicle and step away from me, all right? Step out and face away. Step out and face away.
Okay, please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not going to shoot you. Step out and face away.
I'm going to get out of here, man. Please don't shoot me, man.
I'm not shooting you, man.
Please, man. I just lost my mom, man.
Taking one out. Step out and face away.
So sorry.
Step out and face away.
Please don't shoot me, Mr. Officer. Please. Don't shoot me, man.
Step out and face away.
Can you not shoot me, man?
I'm not shooting you. Step out and face away.
Okay. Please, man. Please. I didn't know, man.
Get out of the car.
I didn't know, Mr. Officer. I didn't know.
Put your fucking hands right now.
Stop moving. Put your hand behind your back then. I'm not going to do nothing. Facing the door.
Jim's around.
Oh, hey, come back. Stay in the car. I'm sorry, Mr. Officer. I feel my knees. Oh, man. Stop resisting, man. I'm not. Yes, you are. I want to let them know, man. Stand up. Please.
Against the wall.
Me?
Yes.
What I doing?
We're figuring out what's going on. Drop the bag.
Figure out what's going on.
Adam,
What's the problem?
Said something to him. It ain't us.
we was getting a ride,
I
sir.
just got my phone fixed. It's
You can ask
my
Adam.
ex-man.
Adam know me.
This is my ex.
Are you good?
He keep coming. Get my car. That's it, man.
You can ask Mr.
Yeah,
Adam
dude.
about us, sir.
Floyd is jail.
You can ask Mr. Adam about me.
Do you have ID?
I'm on 38th in Chicago.
Man.
320 we're quote for.
You can ask
38th in
Mr. Adam
Chicago.
about me, sir. I just came to buy the tablet, and when I bought a tablet, it didn't. He didn't
Oh
work.
my
with whatever.
God. He didn't even do nothing.
Here you go, sir.
You have ID?
No, I don't. My
You got
name's
anything with
Chauvin
your name on it?
Hill. No.
Sir.
Okay.
I just came over to get my phone. You see, I don't have a purse or nothing.
Mr. Adam
And my
knows
daughter
me.
is on her way to get me.
What's his deal?
I don't
Mr. Adam knows
know.
me, sir.
That's
His
my
deal, he
ex.
just-
I don't know.
Why is he getting all squirrely and not showing us his hands and just being all weird like that?
Because he's been shot before. He don't
Well, I
want
get that, but still, when officers say get out of the car,
going
is he drunk? Is he on something?
Oh, he got a thing going on. I'm telling you
What
about
does
the
that mean?
police. We have problems all the time when they come, especially when that man took that gun like that. It's been one.
What's your first name?
He's pretty good.
George Floyd.
What is it?
He's a good guy. George Floyd, she said.
Can you spell that?
I don't know how to spell George, sir.
Her name.
My name is, my name.
Your name, yeah.
Renee Hill.
Can you spell it?
S-H-A-W-A-N-D-A.
S-H-A-W.
Yeah, right, sir.
Yeah, he okay.
Mr. Adam.
Just put him in the car.
Mr. Adam.
Shawanda what?
Hill. Renee, R-E-N-E.
What's your last name?
Hill.
And your date of
If
birth?
y'all coming to get me, 127.75. Okay.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. Someone passed a fake bill in there.
Oh,
We come over here, he starts grabbing for the keys and all that stuff. Starts getting weird, not showing us his hands. I don't know what's going on, so you're coming out of the car. So just hang tight right here. Stay right here, please.
Oh, ouchie,
What
man.
are you on something right now?
I'm not, no, nothing.
Because you acted
Okay.
erratic.
Man, it's
Let's go.
bad, man.
Let's go.
God, man. Yes. Yes, I was just moving earlier.
Let's go.
Man, what up? All right, let me calm down now. You're feeling better now.
Keep walking.
Okay, now, do me one favor, man.
No, when we get to the car, let's get to the car, man. Come on.
Dang, man. Oh, man. God, don't leave me, man. Please, man, don't leave me, man.
Here.
I
I want to watch that car too, so get him in.
Stand up, stop falling down.
Stand up.
Stay on your feet and face the car door.
You get a seat
Please.
on
Please, God. Can I talk to you, man? I just want to talk to you, man. Please, let me talk to you,
Man,
please.
you ain't listening to nothing we're saying, so we're not going to listen to nothing you're saying.
Can you watch that car? Just make sure no one goes in it.
I hear you, but you are going to face the door right now.
Listen up. Stop.
I'll do anything. That's anything y'all tell me to do, man. I'm not a resistant, man. I'm not. You can ask him. He know me, you
Check
know.
that side.
God, man, I'm gonna do nothing like that, y'all. Why is it going on like this? Look at my wrist, Mr. Officer. I'm not that kind of guy.
Other side.
Mr. Officer, I'm not that kind of guy.
Stop.
You please? I'm not that kind of guy, Mr. Officer. Please. Shut
Face
up.
away.
Please, man. Don't leave me by myself, man. Please. I'm just claustrophobic. That's it.
Well, you're still going in the car.
Anything sharp on you?
I won't do nothing to hurt y'all, Mr. Officer. No, sir.
Now you like a comb or nothing?
Nothing, I don't have nothing. Why y'all doing me like that, Mr. Officer? Please crack it doing it for me and stuff, man. I am claustrophobic for real, Mr. Officer.
You got him?
Could you please crack it for me, please?
Yes, I'm
Remember my
cracking.
name. Stay
I
with me,
will.
man.
I will.
Please stay with me, man. Thank you. God, man. I didn't know all this was gonna happen, man. Please, man. I just want my hands free. I don't want none of y'all, man. Nothing.
You got it.
Inside of your pocket real quick on your turn. I'm listening.
And I understand that people do stuff and
All right, he's good. That's guns, whatever. No, nothing worse.
Okay.
Grab a seat.
Okay. Because that was my honor.
I'll roll the windows down, okay?
Please, man. Please don't do that.
Take a seat.
I'm going in, Mr. Officer. I'm going in.
No, you're not.
I gotta go in.
Take a seat.
Grab a seat, man.
Man, y'all don't believe me, Mr. Officer.
Take a seat.
I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy, man.
Take a seat.
Y'all, I'm gonna die in here.
Take a seat.
I'm gonna die, man.
You need to take a seat right now.
And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that.
Okay, I'll roll the windows
No.
down. Hey, listen.
Dang, man.
Listen.
I'm not that kind of guy.
I'll roll the windows down
Please,
and pull your
man.
legs in, all right? I'll
Y'all
put the
keep
air on.
stop. Look at that. Look at that.
Not even
Look
listening.
at it. Look at it.
We can fix it,
Look.
but not while you're standing out.
Okay, man. God, y'all do me bad, man. Man, I don't want to try to win. I don't want to try to win. I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic. I got anxiety. I don't want to do nothing to
I'll
them.
roll the window down.
Man, I'm scared as fuck, man. When I start breathing, it's gonna go off on me, man.
Pull your legs in.
Okay. Let me count to three. And I'm going in. Please. I'm not trying to win. I'll get on the ground, anything. I can't stand this shit, man. He know it.
As you get in this car, we can talk.
I'm claustrophobic.
I'm hearing you, but you're not working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
I'll have you over here. I'm going to pull you
Get
in.
in the car.
in the front, please.
No, you're not getting in the
I'm
front.
claustrophobic, so I was
Get in the car.
Okay, man, okay. I'm not a bad guy, man.
Get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man, please,
Take a seat.
please, man, please. No,
Take a seat.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please.
Fine.
My wrist, man. Please. I can't take it, man. I can't. I'm on the ground.
Get in the squad.
I'm on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down.
Squad.
I'm not getting free. I know I can't breathe. I just had COVID, man. I can't breathe. Please, man. Please listen to me.
Do you want to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I can't.
Okay, go know what's going on.
What?
Take him out and just
For what?
MRE.
Man. I can't fucking breathe. Here, come on out. Look at you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, just when you get up the...
On the ground.
I appreciate that, I do.
You got your restraints. Hobble. That's what you. That's what you. Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
Stop moving. Mama. Mama. Yeah. Mama. Mama. One of the front pouches. Mama. On my right side bag. Mama. Mama.
EMS go to...
You're the best guy. All right. All right. Oh my God. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got hobble?
Yeah, my kids, I love you. I'm dead.
Mine's in my side, it's listed, it's labeled. It says hobble. It's on the
I
top.
can't breathe for this, man. It's cold-blooded, man. Ah, ah, Mama, I love you. I can't do nothing. My face is gone. I can't breathe, man.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
Please let me stand. No. Please, man, I can't breathe.
You get up on the sidewalk, please. One side or the other, please.
My face getting bad.
Here, should we get his legs up?
Oh
Or
my
is this good?
God. Oh my God.
All right. Hopefully Park's still sitting on that car there.
Look at my
He
face,
was acting very
man.
little shady like Sean was in there. I'm assuming so. He wouldn't get out of the car. He wasn't following instructions. Yeah, it's across the street. Park's watching it.
Please.
Two other people with
Please,
him.
I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me.
You can probably step it up then. You got it?
Sir, showing you at 20:21 and 25 seconds, so 8:21 and 25 seconds. Based on your experience and training, do you have an opinion as to what that item is?
That's a body cam.
Please resume.
Please, man, somebody help me. I can't breathe.
You're talking.
You're talking fine.
Deep breath.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My body's just tired of this. Relax. Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
He's got to be on something.
What do you want? I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit. I will. I can't move.
That is...
Mama.
Found a weed pipe on him. There might be something else with it. Might be like PCP or something. Is that the shaking of the eyes, right, as PCP?
My knee. My neck.
Where their eyes like shake back and forth really fast?
I'm through. I can't move it. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. There's water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe off of it. That will kill me. That will kill me, man. Takes a heck of a lot of oxygen. Come on, man. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. They'll kill me. They'll kill me. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. We tried that for 10 minutes. Please, please, please.
the side? Okay. I just worry about the delirium or whatever. Okay, that's false. Yeah, I think he's passing out.
This call has the closest available. If you could start for an assault at Mid-North 2313 Washington Street.
Yeah, I mean, my knee might be a little scratched. I'll survive. He's breathing. Okay.
Come over here.
Up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, we need you to keep it different. Yeah, you gotta have us come on. Get back off! Get up! Get off the street!
Roll him on the side.
He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He's gonna
Going.
Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Kyle. Kyle, check his pulse. Kyle, check his pulse, bro. No, check his pulse, bro. What is that? What do you think that is? You call when he's doing okay? You call when he's doing okay. You call what you do. You call when he's doing okay, bro. Bro, you think that's okay? Check his pulse. Kyle, check his pulse. Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro. Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro.
330, EMS Portland and 36, they were advised to
Bro, he has not moved.
You advise what?
I called 3. Call check. Okay, that's cool. Go back.
giving you their updated location there.
Here we go. Not responsive right now, you guys might want to.
Right now. Are you serious?
Should we get another car? Get another car just for crowd.
Let's get them on.
good? Yeah.
Sir, drawing your attention then to what's been marked as Exhibit 43, which is the body-worn camera footage of Officer King. I'll offer Exhibit 43.
No objection,
43 is received.
Publish Exhibit 43.
Before they drive off, act like you it's a fake bill for the gentleman.
The driver in there?
Which one?
That blue one over there.
Which one? Yep. Okay.
Something like that.
All right. Black Police Department, we're going to be out with Minnesota BRJ, Boy Robert John 026 at 38th Street.
I'm right here, bro.
All right, here. I appreciate that, man.
I'm cool, bro. That's your.
Put your hand up!
Let me get over here, sir.
No, you're going to stay right there for me.
Okay. Just us, man. Me and you.
Now you got one more back here.
It's a lady.
The lady?
Yes, sir. Female. Giving us a ride. Trying to get her.
It's her car?
No, it's his other friend car, sir. She was giving her and I a ride.
Yeah. All right. So it's whose car? Your friend's car, you said?
It's his friend's car. Her name, I forget. Her name is I forgot her name, but I know his co-worker, and he was giving her and I a ride. This young lady right here.
Yeah.
And I a ride.
Okay.
And we was just waiting on him or whatever.
All right. You step here, or what stopped you here at Cup Foods?
I do business with Adam. I was trying to buy me a laptop.
All right.
And I did buy one, but it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So he gave me my change back. You can ask him. You can ask him.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
I can give him. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
I'm just making you get this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Please,
I want to stay right
please,
here, bro.
please,
Yep, I
man.
appreciate that.
Please, please. I didn't know, man. I didn't know.
But Adam knows me, bro.
Stay here. You take a seat in that car. Stay in the car.
Yes, sir.
Stop moving. Put your hands behind your back then.
I'm not gonna do nothing.
Face the floor. Hey, you come back. Stay in the car. Stop resisting, man. Yes, you are. Stand up.
Please, man.
Stand up
I
for
want
me.
to go back.
Stand up.
I want to go back there. I can do that this wrong, man.
Come on, walk with me.
This is like
Walk with me.
looking
Walk with me.
at my feet, man. God damn, man.
Stand up.
Why you doing me like this?
Stand up.
God damn,
Come on.
man. I just want to stop doing it.
We're trying to get out of the street here so you don't get hit by a car.
That's it, man. I was looking, man. But I ain't doing it wrong. That's all I was
Take a
saying.
seat. Sit down.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Officer.
sit down.
Thank you, man. God.
Sit all the way down.
Yes,
Flatten your
sir.
feet out.
Yes, sir. I will. Please, man. Please. Please, man.
You got an ID on you?
I got one at home.
All right, what's your name?
George.
George?
George Perry Floyd. I don't know what's going. Man, that's it.
Spell it for me.
G-E-O.
Yep.
R-G-E.
Last name?
Floyd. Yeah, man. F-L-O-I-D.
F-L-O-Y-D?
Yeah.
Date of birth?
And last time I got Tim, October 14th.
October 14th?
73. Man, I got shot last on the same place, man.
If you mind doing me a favor, just run.
Nah, man. Officer.
George Floyd. Thank you.
Man, he was looking for officer. I don't want no problem. I ain't looking for nothing.
Man, you know why we're here?
Why?
We're here because it sounds like you gave a fake bill to the individuals in there.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yes.
And you know why we pulled you out of the car? Because you was not listening to anything we told you.
Right. I didn't know what was going on.
You listen to us and we will tell you what's going on, all right? When you're moving around like that, that makes us think way more is going on than we need to know.
Right. And that's all I had was officer was.
Gotcha, all right. We're going to put you in the back of a squad, all right?
So, can I talk to you?
Yeah, we're going to sort all this out, all right?
Please, man.
Is that your car key?
It's my sister.
Key fob right there?
Yes, sir. Man, I got one problem.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to that for you, all right? Stand up.
Please, man. All right. Can I because I was so messing with him. So I was like, right now, I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and look at you, still able to reach your side. You're making me nervous.
That's why I was feeling. Look at my wrist. Look at it.
Yeah, I got you. We'll fix all that. We'll fix all that, but you got to walk with me.
Ooh. Oh. Ouch.
Are you on something right now?
No, nothing.
Because you acting real erratic.
Man, I'm scared, man. God,
You got foam around your mouth, too?
Yes. Yes, I was just moving earlier.
Okay.
Man, what up? All right, let me calm down now. This is a little better now. All right, okay. Do me one favor, man.
And we don't talk about that once we get to the car. Stop moving around.
Man. Oh, man. God, don't leave me, man. Please, man, don't leave me, man. Oh, please don't leave me, man.
Yeah, just unlock the door for me.
I just beat it, thing.
Stand up. Stop falling down.
I'm claustrophobic, man.
Stand up.
I'm claustrophobic.
Stay on your feet and face the car door.
Please, man. Please.
No.
Please.
Not yet. Keep the door open. Keep the door
I
open.
don't want to talk to you, man. Please, let me talk to you.
Man, you ain't listening to nothing we're saying, so we're not going to listen to nothing you're saying.
I'm claustrophobic.
Face the door.
Please, man. I'm claustrophobic.
I hear you, but you are going to face this door right now.
Listen up. Stop. I'll do anything. I'll do anything y'all tell me to, man. I'm not a listener, man. I'm not. You can ask him. They know me, you know. God, man, I'm going to do anything to get y'all. Why is it going on like this? Look at my wrist, Mr. Olsen. I'm not that kind of guy.
Sit still.
I'm not that kind of guy. Please. I'm not that kind of guy, Mr. Olsen. Please. God. Please, man. Don't leave me by myself, man. Please. I'm just claustrophobic. That's it.
Got anything sharp on you?
I won't do nothing hurt y'all.
Do you have anything sharp on you?
Sir.
Not even like a comb or nothing?
I don't have nothing. Why y'all doing me like that? I'm please, back and really for me and stuff, man.
Stand up straight.
I'm claustrophobic for real, Mr.
You got him?
Could you please crack it for me? Please.
Yes,
Run
I'll
my
crack
hand.
it.
Stay with me, man.
I will.
Please stay with me, man. Thank you. God, man. I didn't know all this was going to happen, man. Please, man. I just want my hands free. I don't do nothing to y'all, man. Nothing.
All right, you get that inside
And I
pocket real
understand.
quick on your side?
Hey,
I'm listening.
And I understand that people do stuff and y'all don't know me.
Take a seat.
Okay.
Why are you having trouble walking?
Because my hands are hurt.
We will.
Please, man. Please don't do
Take a seat.
I'm going in.
No, you're not.
I gotta go in.
Take a seat.
Why y'all don't believe me?
Take a seat.
I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy, man.
Take a seat.
No, I'm a diet.
Take a
I'm a
seat.
diet, man.
You need to take a seat right now.
And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that.
Take a seat.
I'll roll the windows
No.
down. Hey, listen.
Dang, man.
Listen.
I'm not that kind of guy.
I'll roll the windows down
Please,
and pull
man.
your legs in, all right? I'll
Y'all
put the air on.
God, look at that.
Look, you're not even listening.
Look at it.
We can fix this right now while you're standing out here.
Okay, man. God, y'all do me bad, man. Man, I don't want y'all to win. I don't want to try to win. I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic.
You ain't gonna win.
I'm claustrophobic. I got anxiety. I don't want to do nothing to them. Man, I'm scared as fuck, man.
You made a mistake somewhere.
When I start breathing, it's gonna go off on me, man. Okay. Let me count to three and I'm going in. Please.
You can't win.
Please, I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to win. I'll get on the ground, anything. I get in the car. He know it. He know it too, Mr. Officer. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man.
Get in the car.
Okay, can I talk to you, please?
Yes, you get in this car. We can talk.
I am claustrophobic. I'm
hearing you, but you're not
man.
working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
Get in the car.
Get in the car. Get me in the front. Please.
No, you're not getting in the front.
I'm claustrophobic, Mr. Officer.
Get in the car.
Okay, man, okay. I'm not a bad guy, man.
Get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man. What's my trouble? Please, officer. Please.
Sit.
Please.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please. No.
Take a seat.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please.
Fine.
My wrist, man. Please. I can't. I'm on the ground. I'm on the ground. Come on. I'm going down.
Get in the squad.
I'm going down. I'm not going to lose.
Bro, you walked down a hard attack.
I know I can't breathe.
Get in the car.
I can't COVID, man. I can't breathe.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please listen to me.
Is he going to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I tell you.
Can we figure out what's going on?
For what? For what? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe.
Hey, come on out.
Look at you. Thank you.
Get up on the ground. Yeah, on the ground. On the ground.
My wrist. Right.
You got your restraint. Hobble. Okay.
I can't breathe.
Grab that.
Jesus. I can't breathe. Thank you. I can't breathe.
Stop moving.
Mama.
Yeah,
Mama.
it's in the,
Mama.
one of the front pouches
Mama.
on my right side bag.
Mama.
You're the arrest guy.
All right. Oh my God.
It's time to go to
I
jail.
can't believe this. I can't believe this, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got hobble?
Tell my kids I love them. I'm dead.
Mine's in my side. It's listed. It's labeled. It says hobble. It's in the
I
top.
can't breathe for nothing, man. It's cold blooded, man.
You're doing a lot of
Mama, I love you. I can't do nothing.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
My face is gone. I can't breathe, man. Please. Please let me stay in.
No.
Please, man, I can't breathe.
Get up on the sidewalk, please. One side or the other, please.
My face kind of bad.
Here, should we get his legs up?
Oh my God.
Nope, just leave him.
Oh
Just
my
leave him.
God.
Leave him. Yep, just leave him.
All right.
I'm dead.
The park's still sitting on the car.
Look at my face, man.
I believe so. I found a pipe.
Get out of the car.
I ain't even this. Please.
Across the street, park's watching.
Please.
Two other people with
Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me.
Probably step it up then. You
Please, man, somebody help me. I can't breathe.
You're doing fine. You're talking fine.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My body's just tired, you see.
Relax.
Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
What do you want?
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my dick. I can't breathe shit.
Get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move. Ah! Mama.
a weak pipe on him, there might be
Mama.
something else that might be like
I can't.
something.
I'm pissed.
Is that the
All right.
shaking of the eyes, right? It's PCP.
My knee. My neck.
Where their eyes like shake
I'm
back and forth
through.
really fast.
I'm through. I'm claustrophobic. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. Get some water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe, officer.
There's a lot of talking, a lot of yelling.
They will kill me, man.
Takes a heck of a lot of oxygen to
Come on, man. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. They'll kill me. They'll kill me. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Please, please, please.
Roll him on the side.
no, staying put where you got them.
I just worry about the set of delirium or whatever.
Last time maybe I'm gonna breathe.
Okay.
That's awesome.
You could have fucking put him in the car by now, bro. He's not resisting arrest or nothing. You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language is crazy. You fucking bro. What? Yeah, I already know that, bro. I trained with half of these bum ass dudes at the academy, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
I think he's just letting us know.
He's breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool, though, right? What's your...
Chauvin, the closest available, if you could start for an assault at Miss North, 2313 Washington Street.
All right, don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Good so far.
my knee might be a little scratched, but
I think
I'll
that's
survive.
cool, though, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You get mad. You see here, stop when he's breathing right now. The dude's about to go out right now, bro. He's breathing. Bro. You just gonna choke him like that? I'm not scared of you, bro. You fucking pussy ass dude, bro.
Don't come over here. Don't come over here.
Up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, we need you to keep some distance. Yeah, you got an ambulance coming.
He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro. No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He's gonna just right here with that on his neck, bro. Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Kyle.
212 check his pulse. Suspect is sitting on the 20 to 30 years old. The victim is crying and the suspect has a gun. He's going to take good and
What is that? What do you think that is? You call when he doing okay? You call when he doing okay? You call what you doing? You call when he doing okay, bro? Yes, I am. Bro, you call. You think that's okay? Check his pulse. Check his right. Check his pulse. Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro. He's not moved yet. Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro.
About 3:30, EMS at Portland and 36, they were advised to close
Bro, he has not moved, no.
Advise what?
I called 3. Acknowledge him.
Copy, I was just giving you their updated location there. En route.
Bro, he was just moving
222, the suspect is leaving in SC. Unknown, looks like it's going northbound. The victim is in the back of the bus. 12 copies, do we have a response
Right now.
Third precinct sergeant to acknowledge person with tonight, 26
Let's get him on this first.
And we're going to stop playing at that point. If you can take the image off the screen, please. Sir, the way the body-worn cameras work, they have an internal microphone. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's located fairly close to the officer, and you can hear, even with background noise, officers having conversations in conversational tones. They don't have to yell at each other. Is that right?
Correct.
There was also a body-worn camera footage taken from the camera issued to Officer 2 Tao. At this time, State offers Exhibit 49.
Any objection?
No objection.
49 is received.
And asked to publish 49.
Don't get in the car. He know it. He know it. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man. Please. Okay, I told you to please. You get in this car. We can talk. I am claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic. You're not working with me. God, I'm claustrophobic, man. In the car, man. Get in the car. Get me in the front. Please. No, you're not getting in the front. I'm claustrophobic. Get in the car. Okay, man. Okay. I'm not a bad guy, man. Get in the car. I'm not a bad guy. You ain't gonna win. Oh, man. Please, please. Take a seat. Please, man. Please. No. I can't choke. I can't breathe, Bobby. Please. You're talking. Please. Sit down. My wrist, man. My wrist, man, please. Okay. Maybe I'm laying on the ground. 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 I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not gonna run, man. Right. I know I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You're talking and oxygen. Not so breathe. I just had COVID, man. I can't breathe. Okay. He's under arrest right now for forgery. I can't. What's going on?
Let's take him out.
What? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe. Come on out. Look at you. Thank you.
Yeah, just so we get
on the ground.
I appreciate it.
Bro, you can't win, man. Man, you worry.
Right.
You guys have one? Strength? Okay. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Stop moving. Mama. 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 All right. All right. Oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you. My kids, I love you. I'm dead. I can't breathe nothing, man. It's cold blooded, man. There you go.
You're doing a lot of
Mama, I love you.
Are we calling for
I
EMS?
can't do nothing.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
My face is gone.
Well, do you want to hop on at this point then?
I can't breathe, man. Please. Please let me stand. No. Please, man, I can't breathe.
You gotta move the sidewalk, please. One side, please.
My face is bad. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm dead. Oh. Look at my face, man.
I believe
I ain't doing this. Please.
Across the street, parks watching.
Please.
Two other people with
Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody.
EMS coming code 3?
Ah.
Probably set it up there.
Please, man, somebody help me.
Relax.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
He's talking, so he's breathing.
My body's just tired, you see.
Relax.
Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
What do you want?
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my leg. I can't breathe shit.
Well, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been waiting the whole
Ah!
Get up, get in the car.
Mama,
Get up.
Mama, I can't.
Y'all
I'm
got
big.
to do it
Is that the...
All right.
You can't win.
My knee,
You
my
can't
neck,
win, man.
I'm through.
I know you in
I'm
there, you
through.
didn't listen.
I'm claustrophobic. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. Get some water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe, officer. They will kill me. They will kill me, man.
Bro, with your feet on that neck, man, you get off the
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's it. That's wrong right there with his feet on that neck. Yeah, you got your feet right on his neck.
I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
Tough guy. Tough guy.
What's that?
Tough guy. He ain't even resisting the rest.
You know how long you fought with him? He's being held down.
They'll kill me. I can't breathe.
This is why you don't do drugs, kids.
I can't breathe.
He's talking, so he's fine. Okay. We tried that for 10 minutes.
Bum ass shit, bro. That's some bum ass shit, bro. Y'all know that. You know that shit
Okay.
so knee on your neck, bro.
He's talking, he's fine.
Bro, he ain't.
Okay. All right, we're done.
You circumvent
Okay, we're
like
done.
in a jiu-jitsu
We're
move,
done.
bro. You try
We're done.
with his breathing right there, bro.
Okay.
Like, you don't think that what it is, bro? You don't think nobody understands that shit right there, bro? I trained at the academy, bro. That's some bullshit,
Oh,
bro.
you did. Okay.
Right,
Then do you
that's
understand?
bullshit, bro.
All right.
That's bullshit, bro.
Please.
You fucking stopping his breathing right there,
I
bro.
can't breathe.
Okay, he's talking. It's hard to talk when you.
Bro, but you
it's hard to
get him
talk
off
if
the
you're
ground.
if
You're in a
you're
bump
not
right now.
breathing.
You can get him off the
Right?
ground, bro. You can get him off the ground. You being a bum right now.
Were
He
you here the whole
enjoying
time?
that. He enjoying that shit. He enjoying that shit. He a fucking bum, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car by now, bro. He's not resisting arrest or nothing.
talking now?
You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language explains it, you
Look at
fucking
him.
bum.
Bro, get the fuck off of him.
What? No, I already know that, bro. I trained with half of these bum ass dudes at the academy, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
Pass out.
That's what happens to the
Stopping his
underground.
breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool though, right? What's your oh man, what's your badge number, bro? You think that's cool right now, bro? You think that's cool though, bro? You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You get mad. You're just sitting there stopping his breathing right now. The dude about to go out right now, bro. Bro.
Okay.
You just gonna choke him like that? Yeah, I know that's what you want to do. I'm not scared of you, bro. You're a fucking pussy ass dude, bro. What? Bro, look, well, you should check on him. He's not responsive right now.
Back off!
He's not responsive.
Get off the street from here.
Okay,
then you know.
He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro. No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He gonna just let him sit there with that on his neck, bro? Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, child. Child, check his pulse. Child, check his pulse, bro. Bro, check his pulse, bro. You bogus, bro. You bogus. Don't do drugs, bro. What is that? What do you think that is? You call when he doing okay?
Get back on
You
the
call when
street.
he doing okay? You call when you doing? You call when he doing okay?
Are you really a firefighter?
Yes, I am from Minneapolis.
Okay,
Bro,
then get on the sidewalk.
You think that's okay? Check his pulse.
Check his right
Child,
fucking
check his
now.
pulse.
Get back on the sidewalk.
The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
Okay, where?
Minneapolis.
Okay.
Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro.
All right, we'll stop publishing at 20:26:34. Officer Chauvin also had a body-worn camera, is that right?
Yes.
And based on your review, is that the box that we saw underneath the car at one point in the encounter?
Yes.
That is at Exhibit 44, offer Exhibit 44.
44 is received.
Request to publish 44.
Now it's a north side vehicle, Ilion Avenue.
Code 4.
Copy 320 South Code 4, 338 PPN at 2012. Spot 310, copy yourself behind the property damage accident in 1924 Chicago and subway.
I'll shut up until I get there.
All right, if you can take that down, please. Now I'm going to be asking you about some items that we will seek to admit without publication at this point. Officer Pluger is a sergeant at the 3rd Precinct. You're familiar with him?
Yes.
He was also issued a body-worn camera, and his footage is, there's footage that was captured of the incident that's offered as Exhibit 48.
No objection.
48 is received.
Then there's a number of still photographs that were taken from some of the footage that has been reviewed. At this time, I'm going to offer these without seeking to publish, kind of in a group. Offer Exhibit 57, still photograph from Lane's body-worn camera at 20/30/41. Yes, sir. You don't. Is it on your thumb drive? I think in the first batch. One moment, Your Honor.
I can just take a look at it on there.
Or you can bring it up and. 57 is received.
Offer Exhibit 58, Lane's body-worn camera at 20/30/43.
58 is received.
Offer 59, Lane's body-worn camera at 20/30/47.
59 is received.
Offer Exhibit 60, Lane's body-worn camera 20/30/59.
60 is received.
Offer 61, Lane's body-worn camera 20/31/32.
61 is received.
Offer 62, Lane's body-worn camera 20/33/12.
62 is received.
Offer 63, Lane's body-worn camera 20/34/11.
63 is received.
Offer 64, Lane's body-worn camera 20/35/08.
64 is received.
Offer 65, Lane's body-worn camera 20/35/20.
65 is received.
Offer 66, Lane's body-worn camera 20/37/18.
66 is received.
Offer 68, still from Tao's body-worn camera. No, this is not military time, 8/32/59.
That was 68.
That was 68, Your Honor.
68 is received.
Offer 69, Tao's body-worn camera at 8:32 and 6 seconds. I'm sorry, 8:33 and 6 seconds.
69 is received.
Offer 70, Tao's body-worn camera at 8:33 and 20 seconds.
70 is received.
Offer 71, Tao's body-worn camera at 8:34/48.
71 is received.
Offer 72, photograph from King's body-worn camera at 20:33/57.
72 is received.
Offer 74, Lane's body-worn camera 20:38/22.
74 is received.
Offer 195, still photograph from defendant Chauvin's body-worn camera at 20:18/18.
195 is received.
Offer 196, Tao's body-worn camera at 20:18/30.
196 is received.
Offer 197, Tao's body-worn camera at 20:18/40.
197 is received.
Offer 237, photograph from King's body-worn camera at 20:17/45.
237 is received.
Offer 238, Chauvin, defendant Chauvin's body-worn camera at 2018-18.
No objection.
238 is received.
Offer 239, Tao's body-worn camera 2018-40.
No objection.
239 is received.
Offer 240, King's body-worn camera at 2019-27.
No objection.
240 is received.
Offer 241, Lane's body-worn camera at 2019-53.
No objection.
241 is received.
Offer 242, King's body-worn camera at 2023-50.
No objection.
242 is received.
Offer 243, Lane's body-worn camera at 2026-33.
No objection.
243 is received.
Offer 244, King's body-worn camera at 2026-55.
No objection.
244 is received.
Offer 245, Lane's body-worn camera at 2028-23.
No objection.
245 is received.
Now to exhibit 248, Lane's body-worn camera at 827-41.
No objection.
248 is received.
Yes. And then one final body-worn camera exhibit to offer and for publication that's relatively short, Your Honor. Exhibit 45 is another segment of defendant Chauvin's body-worn camera.
Any objection?
No objection.
45 is received. May be
Seek to-
published.
Seek to publish 45.
You can't win. I'm not trying to win. Go and get in the car then. I get ground anything. Go and get in the car. He know it. He know it too, Mr. Officer. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man. Please. Okay, can I talk to you, please? So you get in this car. We can talk. I am claustrophobic. I'm hearing you. You're not working with me. God, I'm claustrophobic right there, man. Get in the car. Get me in the front. Please. No, you're not in the car. I'm claustrophobic, Mr. Officer. Get in the car. We're going to pull you in. Okay. I'm not a bad guy, man. In the car. I'm not a bad guy. You ain't gonna win. Man. Please, officer. Please. Please, man. Please. Pull him in. No. You can't just see. Pull him in. I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please. Please. Fine. My wrist, man. My wrist, man, please. No, I can't take that, man. I can't. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground, bro. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not going to lose.
And then we've reached the point where, based on your experience and observation, that the camera is now on the ground underneath the vehicle. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Mr. Nelson?
Mayor, may we have a brief sidebar?
Yeah. All right, Lieutenant Rugel, you just have a seat. There's some other things we have to deal with. But members of the jury, we're going to excuse you for the night. And so we are going to be in recess as far as you're concerned until roughly 9:15 or 9:30 tomorrow. Simply follow the sheriff's deputy's instructions, and we will see you tomorrow. Be seated. All right, Mr. Nelson, did you want to proceed? Record should reflect we're outside the hearing of the jury for an offer of proof. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you. Your Honor, as we discussed previously, the state has shortened certain body-worn cameras. I have, as an offer of proof, more extensive copies of both the milestone as well as the body-worn cameras. For purposes of the offer of proof, I do have a few questions for Lieutenant Rugel.
Right, you may proceed.
Lieutenant Rugel, in terms of the milestone cameras, during the course of viewing them, we see the camera turning.
Yes.
Someone was operating that camera at that time, correct?
Correct.
So someone was monitoring the camera and they were the ones that were turning it?
Yes.
And then when you saved that footage, or when the MPD saved that footage, that was not something that was happening. It was recorded essentially, right?
Right. Once it's recorded, you can't change it.
Now, as far as the clip that we saw, you'd agree that that's a shortened version of the entire piece of evidence that was gathered by the MPD?
Yes.
Now, in terms of the software capabilities of the milestone camera, you're familiar with how that operates?
Yes.
And you would agree that the software that runs the milestone is different than the software that was used to show that clip?
Yes.
Okay. For purposes, Your Honor, if we could show the witness or even display it since the jury is not out. But even in terms, this is what the player looks like for the milestone system?
Correct.
And you are able to go through this, excuse me, you were able to scroll through the time that was saved?
Yes.
The pink bar at the bottom, would that indicate the time that was saved?
Yes.
And anything that happened prior to that where it's black, or subsequent to that where it turns black again, would be gone, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, you can all, this player also has some other capabilities such as zooming, right?
Yes.
So we can actually take this and move the camera around. Correct?
Yes.
So it has like this compass rose that allows you to manipulate where the camera is, as far, or where the image is enlarged within the original video.
You're zooming within the video now,
Right.
as opposed to with the camera.
Okay. You also have the ability here to play it in different speeds. Is
Yes.
that correct? So I could play it at as high as 16 times the original speed.
Correct.
So it goes much faster, as we see on the screen.
Yes.
As well as we could slow it down to as much of quarter time, right?
Yes.
All right. So if I just put this back to regular speed, and then scroll, for example, you can actually zoom this in or zoom it out, as we discussed earlier,
Yes.
as well as manipulate the angle to see as much of whatever was captured within the field of the camera's vision, right?
Yes.
All right. And the total time that you gathered was from approximately 7 o'clock p.m., I believe, until you said about 11.
I think that's what it was, yes.
All right, let's just verify. And so, as far as, scan this for here,
10.
10 p.m.
Yes.
So from 7 to 10, 3 hours, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, with respect to the body-worn cameras, does the MPD also maintain the, we can turn the screen off, Your Honor. Does the MPD also maintain body-worn camera footage for the Park Police? Or does Park Police have their own unit that does that?
They have their own
Okay.
system.
In terms of the body-worn cameras, when an officer is on duty, there are certain circumstances under which they can shut them off as their, whatever the policy is, right?
Yes.
All right. And you're familiar with the policy.
Yes.
But there are certain times that officers are required to have them on as well. right?
Yes.
And so an officer may, in the course of interacting with his partners or talking with various people, he or she may turn off the body-worn camera at a certain time, right?
Yes.
And then once the circumstances change and they're required to turn their camera back on, they hit it, and every time they turn it off and on, it creates a different segment of video. Is that
Correct. With a buffer.
with the 30-second buffer each and every time?
Yes.
And so when we're watching the videos and we see that first 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden you see them hit it, and that's when the sound comes on. It actually goes backwards 30 seconds, right?
Right.
Okay, but sound would not be captured,
Not during the buffer. Right.
the 30-second buffer. But so when an officer routinely handles a call and they go to save that body-worn footage, it's not always necessarily one continuous video segment. It may be several segments, right?
Correct.
And in this particular case, I believe with respect to each of the 4 officers thus far, there were multiple segments of each officer's body camera.
I know more than one. I don't.
Right.
Sure. Yes. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I could look and give you the specific numbers, but so if we look at a file folder that has Mr. Chauvin's body-worn cameras and there were 3 segments, that would be representative of 3 times that he turned it off and on.
Yes.
And they all would have the same case number, and each officer may have more than one segment of time captured.
Yes.
All right. I have no further questions for the purposes of foundation. Your Honor, for the record, I have a flash drive for the court's consideration that contains the totality of the 4 officers' body cameras. It has the totality of the milestone system. Let me ask you one quick question, Lieutenant. I apologize. The milestone camera, in order to operate that, it appears from the instructions you actually need to save it onto the desktop of a computer. Are you familiar with that?
To operate it?
To run that player?
You mean downloaded video?
Yes.
To someplace, yes. You need to save it.
Okay.
You can save it to a thumb drive, and then we put it up into evidence.com.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is, like, when I get it, I got a specific instruction that I had to save it on my desktop in order to run the player. Have you heard that?
I believe I've run them from a thumb drive.
Okay. I wasn't able to do that.
Okay.
So for the court's consideration, I would suggest copying. You may find it easier to run the milestone if you save it onto your desktop. I would note, Your Honor, and I don't know if the state is intending to object as on foundational purposes, but it is the defendant's intent to call Peter Chang, the Minneapolis Park Police officer. On the thumb drive also is Peter Chang's body-worn cameras. If there are foundational objections I would appreciate knowing that. Alternatively, you may want to view that if there are admissibility objections.
On foundation grounds?
I don't anticipate that, Your Honor. Let me review the issue, but I don't see a reason to object on foundational grounds, but substantively, there will be some objections.
All right, and when do you want to deal, this is for your case, correct?
It is for experts, both with respect to use of force considerations as well as medical issues.
All right. When would you like to actually argue this? Tomorrow morning or
Is today Wednesday?
Thursday or Friday is fine with me.
Could we do it Friday morning, Your Honor?
Sure.
And then
Let's do that Friday at 9 a.m. then.
At 9 on Friday.
Yes. I don't think it should take longer than that. Okay. Anything else for the record though before we adjourn?
Only that I'll offer the thumb drive as a court exhibit for purposes of consideration.
Yeah, we'll mark it as a court exhibit essentially for an in-camera review or as an offer of proof pursuant to the motion to admit the entire.
And Your Honor, then just for the record, I think that this was initially posed as an objection to our exhibit, and you received that, those exhibits subject to that objection. It seems that this is more of an affirmative offer in his case, and so I asked the court to overrule the objection and receive all of the exhibits we've offered today substantively.
With respect to the objection that I did make earlier, it was just to note I have no objection to the court receiving those items formally, but I would also be offering these.
All right. I'll receive all the exhibits that were provisionally received as formally received, and we'll deal with the admissibility of the new court exhibit and its components on Friday at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your
All right. Anything else for the record?
Honor. No, not for the state. Thank you.
Lieutenant, thank you. Thank you. You can step down. All right. We're adjourned until, do we need 9 o'clock? Let's do 9 o'clock tomorrow just in case any motions pop up in the meantime. 9 o'clock tomorrow, 9:30 for the jury is most likely. Thank you.